So this is the HUMMER, and it's a 12-inch knife. Comes with a taper tang, and the knife handle is Concalo Alves, which is actually curly or figured wood that you'll see here. As I move the wood, you'll see how it's got kind of a sheen to it.
Yeah.
On both sides.
That's beautiful.
And the knife pin I put in this one was a mountain with a moon and some trees, pretty indicative to places like the Pacific Northwest. And this is all silver with a brass moon. And that design goes all the way through, so no matter where I cut this pin, you'll always see that.
And can you show them that taper tang again? I really want people to see that. That is beautiful.
Sponsored by Midland, communication for every adventure, the industry leader in radio communication technology and innovation for over 50 years.
Sponsored by MyMedic, first aid kits that will actually save your life, not just Band-Aids and gauze.
Sponsored by Timbo Tusk. Sponsored by Trail Rated Coffee. Sponsored by CK Knife and Tool.
Always remember, the opinion you follow should be your own. Just consider the things stated here to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online.
Hi, I'm Phil from Waypoint Overland, and you're listening to Random Waypoints. All right, so here we go. Welcome to the second season of the Random Waypoints podcast. This week we have a special guest, Chad from CK Knife and Tool, now in Gillette, Wyoming. Welcome to the show, Chad.
Right.
We're very honored to have you.
Oh, it's nice to meet you finally.
All right, so let's have an official shake on camera.
Since been following you like we were talking about earlier.
Right.
Fellow Chicagoan, you're talking about
right.
our food and...
So let's get right to it. Tell my watchers, our viewers, where you were born and raised.
Born and raised in Chicago. Spent about half my life there. You know, going to Michigan, Wisconsin. Then when I joined the Marine Corps, I left. Then went back. And then ended up in Washington, where, again, you happen to be.
Right.
I'm just stalking Phil here. He doesn't know it.
So, did you grow up off-roading and traveling?
Grew up camping, grew up hunting, and grew up riding three-wheelers back in the day.
Okay.
Dirt bikes and stuff. Never had any idea about glamping, camping, overlanding, any of that other stuff. Never would have thought I could afford it, let alone think I'd get into it.
So when did you first start hearing about overlanding?
Probably, I'd have to say probably around 2016. We actually ended up, 2014, we got a fifth wheel. And the kids and I used to all go dirt bike riding. And my wife. Then my daughter had seizures and we gave up dirt bike riding. So we wanted to do something else. And we got into some of the bushcrafting and camping. And then my wife didn't want to do any of that. So we ended up just fell into overlanding by accident. And I was like, I always wanted to get a rooftop tent. It's like, oh, that'd be awesome. And then just went on from there. It's a rabbit hole, isn't it?
It sure is. It sure is. Okay, I want everybody to know the real reason why I'm here. So let's get right into what you do. Tell my audience what it is that you do.
I'm a custom knife maker. I make handmade custom knives, both hunting, bushcrafting, kitchen knives, stuff like that. And I got my start actually doing it. Just wanted something to make to pass on to my kids. And once I did that, it was almost like the overlanding bug that bites most people. I got into making my first knife, and it just kind of meshed with me. And I made a second one, made a third, made a fourth, and before you know it, I just turned it into a business.
Well, I already know the answer to this question, but for the sake of this podcast, could you also tell us what you did before that?
Was a third generation tile setter. Then I went into the Marine Corps, got out of the Marine Corps, went back to tile. Wasn't really doing it. I was missing the niche. Went to school with my GI Bill, got into law enforcement, and was a law enforcement officer for 10 years. Okay. And then I gave that up to basically homeschool the kids and take care of them. I had a contracting company on the side, so I had something going all the time. And then I got into knives.
So the way that I know you is through social media. You follow me on Instagram, yep. And then I saw your videos. I followed you back, and I fell in love with your knives, and that's why I'm here. So I just wanted to mention how we know each other. I always like them to know.
I actually found you on YouTube by happenstance, going through overlanding stuff, and I ran into yours. It was probably maybe the first month or two you might have been in, and I watched, and the first thing I said is, "The guy sounds like he's from Chicago." I was like, "That's cool," and then I just subscribed and watched the videos and stuff, and then I got an Instagram, and I found you on Instagram then, and then just blossomed from there. So social media is it's a really cool platform for a business as well as just for personal. It's also a rabbit hole too, and it can be mucked with a lot of bad things, but it's got so much positive. I try to keep people towards that positive.
Yeah, when I first became aware of you and what you do, you were very close to me. So tell them about your recent move, where we are, and what your plans are moving forward.
Left Port Orchard, Washington, and my little shop, and I moved out here to Wyoming. One of the biggest moves basically was the taxes and business, freedom of business, and low taxes, low income tax, actually no income tax here, and then low sales tax and stuff. And then a freedom, we wanted more property, and it was just getting too expensive to stay there to expand the business. So I moved out, picked Gillette, Wyoming, and bought 5.5 acres, and the building was here, but it was just an empty building, a dirt floor, and turned it into what we're seeing now. And the goal was to build a bigger business because, like you've seen, I want to not just continue teaching knife classes, but also give back to the veteran community, because there's a lot of vets there's a lot of companies that do stuff for vets, but I think a lot of vets get left behind because there are certain things they can and can't do if they're in a wheelchair. So I made a goal that when I came out here, built the business back in Wyoming, everything was going to be mostly handicap accessible to where a person in a wheelchair can come here to the shop and make a knife with me in a wheelchair, adjustable tables, all that.
What are some of the other things that you've done specifically to facilitate the handicapping?
Not just
like I noticed the up front, the bathroom.
The bathroom is handicap size, ADA required, double doors that come in and out of the shop. Every other grinding room's 36-inch wide door. The grinding room is twice the size I had before for someone to maneuver around. Poured all the concrete, so even in the wintertime, if someone has come out, they can back right into the garage, drop down, and it's all concrete. They can park out in a gravel drive right by the walkway that's 11 feet wide, and they can use their wheelchair that way too.
And ladies, I want you to know it's a very clean, very nice, large bathroom. So you lady veterans, he's thought of you also.
Yeah, my wife makes sure I keep dotting the I's and crossing T's. And then just recently, actually, I was gifted a motorized wheelchair. So now somebody came out here because my knife class is 5 days. Unlike some people that do blacksmithing, you can kick a knife out in a day. I don't do that. My knife process and the steel I use, it's a 5-day process. Slow curing epoxies. The slower the epoxy cures, the stronger it is. Day of heat treat, stuff like that. So there's some downtime. So I actually have a motorized wheelchair that if somebody didn't have the ability, they can take that chair like the Devil's Tower, and they can go up that way and use that motorized wheelchair to get around if they needed to.
Okay. So the way I know you is through the Overland community. A lot of people know you in the Overland community. Could you talk about some of the connections and people you've worked with? I know you have actually one of your popular knives is someone very well known in the Overland community, but I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, actually, I got into the Overland community just by happenstance again, and I started reaching out to other YouTube creators like myself. And one of those YouTube creators was actually Coyote Works and the bushcrafting, and then he got into the Overland community himself. And I started working with Casey. We designed his first knife, and that was the main knife here was the main Coyote Works bush knife that Casey and I designed together. And we did that, and we got that going. Oh, yeah. Don't want to cut that. That's razor sharp.
And this will go right through it. Definitely.
Yeah,
that's a beautiful knife.
So we started making that, and this went off really well. It's been one of the top 3 sellers that I've had. We did that, and then in 2019 we launched, or 2020, we launched a second knife for him. A little bit smaller for the women.
This is my favorite. I know you said it's for the women, but this is my favorite. This is more EDC to me.
Yeah, actually, that outsold this one now in regards to everything. So this was called the Coyote Pup. That was the bush knife for the 1.0. This became the Coyote Pup from there. And I've been making those for Casey for a better part of, I think, 3 years now.
So was it these 2 particular knives that kind of propelled you into the Overland community?
Yeah, that was probably the best way to put it is I had some touch with the Overland community because some people that were overlanding were also hunting. So that brought me into there. And then the fact that I made some kitchen knives. A lot of the guys like to take care of their wives. You know, they're out there doing stuff. Hey, my wife likes to do this, but I want to give her something nice because, you know, the husband's got all this other stuff and the wives sometimes feel left out. So I had a couple of husbands hit me up for kitchen knives, and then, yeah, it worked pretty good.
Okay. So my audience, they know that I'm more interested in the owners of these businesses and what kind of people they are. They know I'm also more interested in, do you actually make the products, or is it just something you slap your name onto? So talk about that.
Yeah, I buy bar stock material made either in Canada or the United States, and I make every single knife here in-house. And the only thing I ever get brought in are materials like the Kydex material, the leather that I use to make my sheaths, my pins, the custom pins you'll see on some of my knives, like on here with the mountain. There's a mountain and a moon on there. That's a really big hit for the outdoor community. I get those made by somebody else. But yeah, the leather, all the materials come in here. And then when I get it all, this knife, when it's done, it's made by me. If it's a leather sheath or a Kydex sheath, ferro rods, I buy the ferrocerium. I get the antler or the wood, and then I make everything here in the house. So I pride myself, mostly everything I buy, I try to get made in America. And it's also important because in 2020, I was actually made one of the Made in America movement ambassadors. So trying to, you know, push the 5 key things was Made in America, was it made local at the time in Washington? Is it family-owned business? Is it veteran-owned business? Firefighter, law enforcement? Those key things I've always kind of focused on. And I think that's what got the Made in America movement people kind of involved in what I do. And trying to push more within the community in general.
I love it. I love it. That's what I wanted to hear. That's why I'm here. I wanted you to have an opportunity to say something like that.
Yeah,
we need more companies like that are more focused like that and are giving back like that.
Yeah, small businesses and stuff. It's kind of important now than ever.
So we like to get philosophical around here. What do you wish you had known then that you didn't know now? It doesn't have to be about the knives. It can be family. It could be...
I've got one for every category.
Okay.
One for every category. What I wish I would have known. I wish I would have known that I should have had an MRI rather than an ultrasound for my neck and my surgery, things might have turned out differently. Moving to Wyoming was tough, and getting everything going, especially in 2021. It would be nice to travel back, 12 months or 10 months from now and tell my 1 year younger self, don't buy and move in 2021. It's not the best for lumber.
So some people watching already know who you are, and something that they probably want to know is, what's going on with the voice, Chad?
Oh, yeah. I know I didn't used to talk like this.
Mm-hmm.
I had surgery back in May of 2021. Had surgery in May, and it was for a thyroid tumor. And when I joke about the MRI or the ultrasound is, when you go through it, it's basic for ultrasounds to see the tumors and to do it. And they turned around and found out it was 4.5 centimeters big. I think that's what the measurement was. And so I had to go in for surgery. But when they went into surgery, they found out it was over 3 times the size.
Wow.
It was wrapped around my esophagus, my carotid, and it went down to my sternum. And during the surgery, I ended up finding out I had nerve damage. So it actually cut some of my vocal cords and stuff, and they got some of it back together, but I can't yell. I can't speak very loud anymore. I get strained. I can't speak very long sentences. I run out of the way of pushing that air out because I'm trying to speak from more down deep and not using your regular voice like people would use.
I understand.
So it gets kind of tough. So.
Wow. So I know you make kitchen knives. I know you make bushcraft knives. What I want to know on a personal level is, what's the knife that you carry every day? What's your everyday carry knife?
Oh, actually, it's in my truck. It's in my rig. I have a little go bag. It's a little bit smaller than my Pelican case there. It's a little go bag, and it's my Rogue.
Okay, we'll take a picture and pop it up here, right now. Okay.
Yeah, it's my Rogue. Actually, I totally forgot. I left the kitchen knife in the box down here. Forgot to pull it out. My favorite kitchen knife is the Kiritsuki. That's the one I use the most. And then after that, it's a Santoku. Those are my 2 go-to knives. But my knife in my pack is my Rogue, one of the first ones ever made. And then my second knife is actually a Jasper. Okay. That's right there.
Okay. So as far as I knew you when things were rolling. Everything was pretty much doing well, and you were expanding into this big, gigantic, huge shop that you've got now. I'm going to show you a quick little tour of it. He's not done with it yet, but I'm going to show you a tour of it. This place is huge.
Yeah, we just got done building this table.
What kind of hurdles did you have to overcome to get as far as you've gotten to this point?
The knife industry is tough, and getting a name out there is tough. Mm-hmm. And then there's a lot of people that make some beautiful knives that are collectors.
Right.
Then there's people that make really low cost, quick, easy knives. And it was my goal to try to fall in between them two. My knives aren't cheap, but my knives aren't expensive. My knives can be real pretty with the woods and some decorative pins, but they're not so extravagant that you don't want to go out and use it. It's that fine balance right there. And then it was just getting your name out there to let people know they can trust you. And I think part of it was having a connection both with the military and my Marine background and my law enforcement background. Having those 2 niches helped me kind of get in and just kind of force a wedge, my own little wedge in the knife community. And then using YouTube and social media kind of helped quite a bit to kind of expand from there.
And what has been the response back from the military community to you jumping into the knife business?
It's been great, actually. I had, when I started trying to teach classes, I had 3 people come out to the shop that were all former Army in one way, shape, or form that made their knives. And it also helped that my mentor was retired Army. He was Special Forces. He ran first group down in JBLM over in Washington, where we're from. And so it was all that niche that came in there. But it's been really good because the Rogue was really popular with them. The Jasper was really popular with those guys. And then it was the connection I ended up making with the Warrior Boat Society. That being John Lovell, that being a former Ranger himself, and getting connected with them and the infancy of my business and making knives for them for a while was pretty good. So actually I got one of her knives right here. It's called, we called it the STPT, the stabby, thrusty, pokey thing.
Yeah, this feels nice.
Yeah. And I designed that with Evan over at the Warrior Boat Society. So, and again, that's what's nice is priding yourself to be able to work with people that have an idea, like with Casey that I did with that Warrior Boat Society with this, and then Kit Badger being a former Marine, YouTube personality as well, more in the tactical industry, but Ivan and I designed that knife together, and we called it the Woodsman Shank, and I was selling those on the website too. And again, they're Ivan being a Marine, John being a former Army, and then my knife mentor, and all these other guys getting together. So that community was really good. It was really tight.
Okay. I want to talk about the kitchen knives.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to get the name wrong, but you said you make a
Kiritsuki.
And I know it's a Japanese cut. And then you said, what was the other knife?
Santoku.
Santoku.
Yeah.
So both Japanese style knives.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, it's a little harder to make those type of blades. Am I right in that?
If you're going to forge, yes. I'd love to. My next goal would be is to get another maker in here, and I want to do forging for my classes, for everything that give everybody experience on all aspects. But when it comes to blade steel, I'm using D2 for my normal knives. I use stainless steel for those. And a lot of the kitchen knives you'll see out there are carbon steel. They're more of like a 1085, 1095. Guys will do pattern weld. Damascus is what the generic term is. Mm-hmm. They'll do pattern welded materials and stuff like that. That can be a little bit more daunting. To make a Kiritsuki or a Santoku, one of my kitchen knives, it's usually about 10 days. In that process, one of these is
10 days?
5 to 7, yeah. One of those is 10 days, where that's if you don't, the heat treat's a lot more in depth, so you can ruin steel with the warp. Then you got to re-anneal it to soften it, so you can work it again and get it back into place. But the Kiritsuki's nice. It's 12 inches long. They get longer. Sometimes people make smaller ones for taking on the rigs and stuff, because you know, when you're overlanding, you're especially you with a Jeep, yeah,
Space. Yes.
space is at a premium.
Yes.
So shrinking the knives a little bit is kind of nice.
So what's your favorite knife in the kitchen? Your kitchen?
Actually, yeah, the Kiritsuki is my favorite, and then the Santoku. I've got big chef's knives. I seldom use them. I usually go to either my Kiritsuki that I made, most likely, or my Santoku.
I'm a Santoku guy. I like the other blade, but I try to avoid the pointy fronts,
Yeah,
the pointy tips.
I've made standard carving knives, chef's knives, and I've done some carvings, some 13-inch long carving knives before. I've done that, but they're not that popular. It's the Kiritsuki and the Santoku. That's probably the Coyote Works knife for 1.0, the number 1 sale. The 2.0, number 2 sale. Then the Kiritsuki would be the third. And then after that, it's a bounce between either like the Chimera or the Jasper.
Okay, I want to stick with the kitchen. You know, we like to eat
This is
around here.
Philip is going to be watching this one. That's cknifeandtool.com.
So I want to know if I was meeting you somewhere on the trail and you were making something to impress me, what's your go-to impress meal on the trail?
Oh, I love carne asada.
Oh, really? Okay.
I love carne asada. The kids and I, we all do it. My second one is
So carne asada tacos or burritos? Or?
I'll put on anything. I'll put it on breakfast burrito. You know, little tiny 6-inch or 4-inch round tacos.
Yeah.
Anything. I bring the carne asada, throw it on the grill. It's quick, easy. I just love the flavors. After that, then I love burgers. I love burgers.
Okay.
So I've been eyeballing those Timbo tusks. I haven't gotten one, but I haven't been out. This year's been kind of taken. I haven't been able to go do much overlanding this year, so.
Yep, I just left Overland Expo. Shout out to Jerry over at Timbo Tusk. That's a good friend of mine. I love that guy.
Yeah, Jerry hooks up my buddy Charles. It's a venture with Roscoe. And Charles is always on that Timbo Tusk. He's always rocking it.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charles is always cooking meals and doing stuff.
Yes.
I need a big Timbo Tusk. Like a big one. I could do like a bulb. Because September 11th, I'm doing my open house here. And I just got like a Camp Chef little flat griddle to do my carne asada and stuff. But I was just thinking I need like a bigger Timbo Tusk.
You know what? As
like
popular as they are, I could definitely see something like that coming in the future.
For like the house.
Yeah.
A Timbo Tusk for the house.
Yeah.
I'd pipe that off of
Or maybe one with, you can remove the dish so you can.
Oh, yeah. Because the Timbo Tusks now, I think, are what, 12 or 16 inches?
I think it's a little larger than 12 inches.
12 inches, yeah.
I think it's about 12 inches for the. I should know that, but I don't know.
Well, my grill's hardwired, hard piped, my gas. I'd have like a 24-inch Timbo Tusk right next to it. Just hard gas to that, and I'd be scottling like crazy.
And my audience is going to want to know what you drive and how do you get out when you get away?
I'm like the odd man out. I've got a Nissan Titan.
Why do you say? Wait. Why do you say that? You're the odd man
I'm
out.
not like these guys. Everybody's got Jeep. Everybody's got Toyota and Land Cruiser.
No, we're not like that here. I drive what fits me, but I judge no one else. I've been in some of the craziest remote places, and I'll see all kinds of vehicles.
Yeah.
As long as you get there, right?
Yeah. I
wish that people would get that through their heads in the community. It's not a Toyota and Jeep thing. It's whatever gets you there. And it's not all about off-roading. It's traveling and enjoying everything in between the points instead of just driving miles and stopping and driving miles, stopping.
Yeah, when I went out to Nissan USA, I went out there in 2019, Provost, Utah, Park City, Utah, to drive the 2020 Nissan Titans. And they got a hold of me because of I was turning my rig into overlanding. I was trying to get it out there in the community. Because there's not a lot of aftermarket stuff. Right. And that's where it comes in. Having a Jeep, you can find so much stuff. Oh, yeah. Toyotas. And that's why guys like me get jaded and razz people like you. Because we get left behind in that. Yeah. And it's not until probably this last year, some more of the aftermarket stuff's been picking up a little bit. But I did a lot of stuff with either myself or just trying to find people. I built my own storage box in the back of my bed, but I had a buddy of mine over at Off-Road Warehouse down in California there. He hooked me up with a suspension system, so I put that on myself. I put some Ram mounts. It's the first person actually, from what I found out, the Ram or the Nissan Titan has a dashboard. There's like some kind of speaker or something that would be there on the Platinums, but I got a cover in mine. Took that cover off and I bought a Ram mount, aluminum track, and I mounted my mount so I can put my GoPro and my Garmin, my phone, everything. I can mount it right up there. Oh, great. And because there was nothing for that. Jeep, you guys got those, you can get like bars mounted.
Right, all kinds of stuff.
Toyota's got all sorts of things that mount. And Nissan didn't have that, so I did it. And I've gotten emails and messages from people. They love that. It was like a simple little, Ram isn't the cheapest thing in the world, but the actual screws and the idea, I didn't spend more than $5 to actually just do it.
Right, we love hearing stuff like that. We love hearing stuff like that here. We're not about spending money just to spend money here. Okay, so like when you were like, you're not part of the Jeep or the Toyota, what impresses us, you're starting off our second season if you didn't know it already.
I didn't know until when you did the intro. I'm like, Okay.
Well, there's going to be a bunch of rig walk-arounds that focus on bought, not built vehicles.
Oh, nice.
I'm trying to go against the grain of everybody that, they're flipping a brand new vehicle every 6 months. They got a new trailer every 6 months. So we're trying to go totally opposite direction in that here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was one of the things when I got with Gowana Equipment. When I connected with Gowana Equipment and they made me a brand ambassador, I wasn't looking. Yeah, some tents are awesome. Those rooftop tents are just amazing. But I didn't want something. I couldn't afford something that flashy. And I ended up with the Wanaka 3, and it fit me. And as I was telling you one story, it can put me and one of my Marine buddies up there. And then when I got that annex, I can sleep, my wife and I up there. My wife and kids can sleep in the annex. And it was not that expensive.
Right.
Or like that awning I got, that Morpho.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me the walls for it too. And you can get into stuff like that. If you can't buy a rooftop tent, get yourself an annex or like a 270-degree awning with walls, because then you've got an area you can sleep in, but then you got an area you can prep in. And then it's big enough that you can put a couple of cots in, protect yourself from the elements if you wanted. You can set it up for a bathroom, if your wife or the kids need some privacy. Those 270 awnings are awesome.
All right, we're back from a tour of the facilities here at CK Knife and Tool here in Gillette, Wyoming, and let's talk about that. What kind of square footage are we talking here? Because this joint is huge.
Yeah. I took a dirt floor shop that's 40 by 64, and we poured the concrete, did all plumbing, electric, everything. The workshop itself is 30 by 40, and the knife room and the wood shop we're sitting in are divided by the bearing wall and like the grinding room right there. So this area here, what I'd like to do is just use this table to spread out leather to make sheaths, plan, have round robins, have, guys coming in and gals just want to sit back and just chill, just talk about stuff. Have this 50-inch by 98-inch table to relax around. Still have to finish the media wall. Got that going. And then give people an experience with wood and with leather on this end. On that end, it'll be all knives, steel, drilling. More the violence of action is over there. It's like grinding and stuff. It's very loud, noisy, dirty work. But
you told me on the tour that you were thinking about even a second location. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, this is basically kind of like a test. I went from my old building was less than 20 by 20 on my 2.5 acres, and we bought 5.5, and now this building is 40 by 64. But my shop here is tripled in size, and I want to do that because of wheelchair accessibility. But I want to make sure this all works well, because my goal would be at 55, in 5 years from now, a little bit over 5 years, I could have a shop in Wyoming, in Gillette, and I would have a little storefront, and then I would have a bigger building in the back where I can run classes with 5-6 people, have 2 or 3 people working for me, helping people out, do full-on, veteran get-togethers there, go back to my roots again and do law enforcement things, blue line stuff. I made a knife years ago for the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund. I'd love to get back to that again. And this is kind of the test to see how it all works out. If I can keep my sanity and whatever hair I have remaining. So go from there. And then it also segue into the nonprofit we're working on. So
talk to us about the nonprofit.
The nonprofit's called Maintain the Edge. And I came up with that name because as veterans get out of the service, and I've been out since 93, to date myself, and I didn't do anything anywhere near what our vets are seeing now. But what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing from a lot of them is when they get out, a lot of them got to find a purpose still. PTSD's been a big thing, and a lot of that has to do with the idle hands, not diminishing the experience, but it's such a high-speed, low-drag lifestyle that when you get to civilian life, a lot of guys are trying to find what they do with themselves. Keep their hands busy. If your hands are idle, your mind starts to work and wander. That's never a good thing. So in maintaining the edge, I'd like to try to get people to maintain that edge, whether you're in a wheelchair, whether you got prosthetics or not, whether you're just having a challenge coping. Maintaining the edge, not just physically, like we used to have to do, push-ups, sit-ups, the PT stuff. You're keeping your scores on the range. But that edge of keeping mental sharpness and acuity, coming out and, using a table saw, using a scroll saw, coming out, make a knife, use tools, and get that brain functioning again. Get creative. There's all these different edges. And it was also a spin-off being a knife maker to maintain that edge of your knife. But it was more for the fact that I wanted to get guys and gals out to get back that edge again that they think is, they might be getting a little softer on the midsection. They might not be PTing like they used to. They might not be challenging themselves as much. I had hoped that I could give them that opportunity to get back into it. And then they might like to, sorry about that,
Don't worry about
my
it.
shop mascot.
It's a real shot.
It's a real shop. It's real Wyoming. It's also maybe you might find someone that wants to make a knife, not just once, but 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And that's the guy I'm looking for too. So it's self-serving because I can get someone to come in the shop and say, hey, I'd love to work for you then.
I want to dig a little deeper into the transition of a veteran from the military and either retiring or coming back. I want to get from the outside looking in. On its simplest level to me, it's a person at one point was one of the most important people to the safety of their country, and then the next day it's just like turned down to zero. Nobody knows how much you've done for your country. Speak on that some more. Let's talk about that transition, because I don't think the average civilian really understands how different, how big of a jolt you go from almost being like the star of the team to a nobody. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, that's...
But I'd like to hear from a veteran.
Yeah, well, Ted, I felt it twice. I felt it when I was in the Marine Corps, because I got out in the 90s, and they were just getting rid of everybody left and right. They were just cutting back the military. So not only did you get out of the military shorter than what you might have wanted to do, but then you're being told that you're not valuable anymore when you're getting out. So then you get out and you're used to this expectation of yourself and the expectation of people around you. And I got into civil. I went back into contract work with my dad. And I was dealing with these guys. They didn't have that level of expectation of themselves.
Right.
Of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that frustrated me because I had this expectation of myself. And if I had the expectation of my own body and my own mind, I held it on you. And that just drove people crazy and pushed people away. And then, you got to come to terms with that. But I was always, I got into construction. I was always working. I was always making things. I was always busy. And so that's what got me back to that maintain the edge. And then when I got out of law enforcement, you talk about, like I was a rifle officer. I did elder abuse. I did witness protection. I did all these things that nobody ever knew about. Most people still don't know to this day. And I got all these accolades and these awards and all this other. But once you become a civilian, it don't mean anything. Nobody cares anymore. My wife always teased me because I had frames with, certificates and diplomas and accolades and attaboys, and I had my office. I don't have any of that anymore. It's all in a box, put away.
So that could be a traumatic thing for a person to come home and be responsible for so many things, multitasking, suppressing stress, doing all of these things that sound like should transition into a job as an asset, right? Yeah. And then you've got a guy, maybe he's the boss or he's just the person interviewing with you, and he's looking down on you. The next thing I want a person to visualize also is There are some stereotypes out there about military that are inaccurate, and when you juxtapose the numbers versus the average American, they're actually lower. But there's actual stereotype out there like, oh, you might not want to hire him because he'll come and shoot up everybody or blow the place up, or you know what I'm saying, right?
Well,
so speak on that, because that's really not the case. It just seems like the rare time it does happen, they make sure to put it in the news.
Yeah, I remember it was probably a lot more like that in the 90s. Excuse me. Back in the 90s, early 2000. Then you start getting people that are somewhat sympathetic to vets now, but you still get that to where they look at you a little, and I hear from the younger guys not coming in. Because again, I'm 49, and I'm getting guys that are 30, 35 years old. And they're like, yeah, I'll go do an interview, but you're just too gruff for that person. You're not so soft. They want you to be more soft-spoken, more accepting of people's differences. But in the flip side, that double edge, the person telling you that isn't being accepting of who you are and not being compassionate of what you've just seen and did for 4 years or 8 or 20 years. And so, yeah, you can get that still. So those vets are finding themselves narrowed to certain categories of jobs they can get. Construction, maybe work at a gun store. Maybe every once in a while you'll see a couple of them working at a Home Depot or something like that, or a Lowe's or a Menards. But they don't get to be, they're not given an opportunity to be customer service orientated, because the military doesn't teach you. They said, hey, when I went in, here's your job, it'll transfer to all these civilian jobs. I did that. I get out to a civilian job. It didn't pay next to nothing. And you're basically just gaffed off. Like, hey, I'll give you this. If you don't want it, then you can get something else. Well, vets don't want that. You don't want to get out and, again, sit there and go, I had a good paying job in the military. Yeah, sometimes it wasn't the best. Sometimes it sucked. But it was good, but I couldn't stay, or I had to get out, or it was just my time. But now you want to feel that purpose that you felt there. And employers aren't giving people that purpose. And it's not just being warm and fuzzy or hand-holding and big hugs. You want a sense of accomplishment. That vet doesn't care less if you give them a pat on the back. That vet wants, at the end of the day, to feel like they did something right. They felt like they helped someone. No, none of, I can definitely speak by myself. We don't say that we want attaboys every day. I don't want every month to be, employee of the month or something like that. I just want to go home saying, I feel accomplished. I feel like I did something. Whether, like with me, I got back into trades, I felt accomplished because I was building things. I was making things that people enjoyed. And that's something I'd like to maybe try to do. Working a desk isn't for everybody. Not everybody likes it. I'm not of that personality. I find myself at a desk more because of what I do, all the admin stuff and the editing videos.
And another thing from the outside looking in that I've seen is that mental health for men is starting to become more acceptable, I'd say, in the last 5 years, to say, hey, things are, I'm getting a little too deep into it. I need some help. I need to talk to somebody. But we still haven't gotten where we need to be. And I think part of that mental health is if I hire you and I give you purpose, if I as a customer and I see you and you're working there and I treat you the way you should with respect, that's going to help you with your mental health right there.
Yeah.
But I do advise you to get help, and don't be ashamed, and no one should make shame of you. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I go back to, I give my kids stories like my grandparents grew up during the Depression. So I tell my kids about the stories of how it was like to live in Chicago during the Depression. Mm-hmm. But I also talk about, when you look back at the World War II vets, you're looking at Normandy. You're looking at airborne units dropping from the sky, landing in country. They didn't even know where they were at, trying to find their way around and do stuff. Some of the most stressful moments with some of the lacking of technology versus what we have today. Those guys and gals came back, especially the men, came back after World War II. Just, I couldn't even imagine what it would be like. But what did they have? Most of those guys that came back, they went back to coal mines or oil mines or building high rises in Chicago and New York and Philadelphia and steel plants. They started having purpose again. They started working. They farmed. They worked. They did things. They created. Many people in my grandfather's time were very, very creative. They didn't buy everything. They made what they had. They were still thrifty with a dollar because they came back after dealing with all of what they experienced. They know what it was like to go without. And I think now it's a big thing is giving those guys purpose, giving men and women that are serving, coming back, not just to sit around, collect a VA check, go talk to a meeting once a week, and that's it. You're getting 80, 60, 80, 100% disability. And most people won't employ you with that. What are they going to do? They're sitting around watching the news. Who wants to watch the news now? Oh my goodness. And then, again, idle hands, the mind starts to wander. You go back to the bad times. Give them something to do. And like a job like mine or others, this isn't, you got to be here 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. You get 2 15-minute breaks and a half-hour lunch. This is, you come in your work, you're creative like this. Be creative, get, and then also be like, hey, I got to get going, I got to take it easy then do that because you're someone that understands. Some employers don't, some employers can't. I'm not going to bash them for it, but I think more employers have to.
I do too.
Give them that break. Give them that little.
I want to talk to you about Chicago.
Oh, the food.
But before we jump into Chicago, I want to talk about Wyoming. Now, you've kind of covered that taxes, finance, and business type thing was a lot of the impetus for you coming here. But minus that, why would a person want to live in Wyoming? Tell me, there had to be other things involved with you saying, hey, I want to live here.
Well, the standing joke is there's more animals than people in Wyoming. There's actually more cows than people. Wyoming has less than 600,000 people. It's the second least populated state. It's one of the 5 largest states, I think, but it's the second least populated next to Alaska. I've had enough of big populations and, big cities. I didn't want that anymore. I didn't want all that. I can go without. I don't need to be by big strip malls. I've never been a big strip mall person. I don't need to go to the theater because, well, in my own personal opinion, I don't like giving people a bunch of money that have a very contradicting viewpoint of my own. I use YouTube and I have Netflix and I have all other stuff, but if I have somebody telling me I'm a bad person because of my way of life, being former Marine or law enforcement or whatever, I'm not going to give you my money. Just like I've had people that may not want to buy a knife from me, may want to buy a knife from somebody else. I'm okay with that. I think that's awesome because there's so many different people like us that can do that. And so I'm like, enough of people. I just want to come here, have my acreage. Loud music is over there, 10 acres away, 20 acres away. I'm good with that. So it's the lack of people that was part of it.
You know what the irony is of everything you just said? That all those choices to be able to buy from you or buy from someone else, all these different choices you have, ultimately they wouldn't have gotten them unless there had been a veteran willing to fight for you to have that opportunity.
Yeah.
A lot of the people that have complaints, whatever direction they are, I just want them to remember, regardless of whatever your argument is, whatever side you're on, you can't have a side other places. I've traveled the world. This is a very unique place that you can actually get on YouTube or Instagram or just yell it out downtown or something.
Yeah.
They'll snatch you up in some countries.
Yeah.
So I just want people to at least understand
Oh.
that. Keep complaining, but just realize why you can complain.
My wife's from Poland.
Okay?
She's got more in common. My grandmother just passed away this year at 99. She was 99. Sorry, Grandma. But she had more in common with my wife being born in a socialist country, Poland. My wife used to tell us stories. She would tell the kids every beginning of the year they'd get a little card from the government and her family for every family member. That card was for a new pair of shoes. My wife's a year younger than me. She had one phone in her town
Oh, wow.
of like 200 people. She grew up where there's only one phone in town for the longest time. Yeah, that's crazy. Growing up, learning how to can and have a farm and raise your animals and do all that. Yeah, so when she moved here, it's like, you're very grateful for what you have.
Well, you know I'm from Chicago, but my family migrated to Chicago. They're originally from Arkansas and Mississippi. And so I totally understand that. I understand town after town, each with all outhouses and...
Now, we have working plumbing in Wyoming. I'm just saying that. Phil's making it sound like we don't. We're not that backwards.
He made me go outside to use the bathroom.
That bathroom is nice and clean. But we got Menards. I've got Home Depot. We got movie theaters. We're like 35,000 people in Gillette. And that's what I like. It's a small town atmosphere.
It's a small town, but I had some excellent sushi downtown.
See? I mean, we got a couple of awesome steakhouses. Old Chicago does pretty good pizza. I had a good calzone from Old Chicago.
And if you're trying to get an idea of where we are, he's about an hour and 15 minutes away from Devil's Tower, which is probably the most famous, iconic monument in the whole state. So,
and my sales tax, to get Gillette to kind of put that together, my sales tax is 5%.
Oh.
I have no state income tax. If you're a veteran, there's no income tax on your disability. There's no income tax on your Social Security. If you're a veteran and you're a resident after 2 years, you call the county. They give you a discount on your property taxes. Home Depot still gives me a discount. The Rising Edge Services, the electrical company, and Renegade Plumbing both gave me discounts on building this to support, because they're some of the supporters. I'm working with the high school. I'm going to join with the high school for marketing, advertising, help them out with the high school. But it's huge. I mean, my high school, the kids are at now, it's 1,200 kids. That's big. But when you go there and how they deal with stuff, it's so small town and community. And that's how they keep Gillette. And that's why we picked Gillette over something like Cody, which I liked. Cody's beautiful. I got a buddy, Dave, who lives up in Cody. He owns a Proud Cut Saloon up there. And yeah, shameless plug for you, Dave. But
Hi, Dave.
really nice guy. He's a transplant from East Coast. But it was, again, moving out here. We wanted that kind of environment. Lots of blue collar. A lot of people are really thankful. Recently, there was a Marine that actually died in Afghanistan. He's from Boudront. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. I never even heard of it. It's just south of Jackson Hole, Wyoming. The town's like 100 people.
Wow.
And he was killed in the attacks that happened a couple of weeks back. So yeah, it's really, they really have half-mast flags, anthem, all that kind of stuff. That's how I grew up. And that's what I wanted my kids to be back in. So, not the big city, even though they're saying I miss Chicago food and I miss the Chicago skyline. I don't care where you're from. Sorry, I'm going to insult you, but Chicago's got the best skyline of anywhere by far. And some of the best food.
You're not going to get an argument out of me. So what would you, if I snapped my fingers and we were in Chicago right now, where would you want to eat?
Oh, I want Gene and Jude's. I want Italian combo with hot peppers, juicy with some fries.
Dipped or not dipped?
Dipped. Dipped. And then I want Italian ice next to it. I'll have like a Dr. Pepper or something, but I want Italian ice for dessert.
Okay, my wife is from Chicago too, so we play this game like every other day, and we always have some taste for something. Mine is usually for Harold's Chicken, Pepe's Tacos, or Eduardo's Pizza.
Eduardo's Pizza, okay.
And just to be clear to my audience, it's even though they sell deep dish pizza, it's a thin crust pizza. Get the thin crust from Eduardo's with spinach.
Yeah, thin crust is awesome.
I like deep dish too.
My wife's a thin cruster. I make deep dish pizza. I actually got a cast iron skillet.
Okay.
I use only for my deep dish pizza at home.
Now for deep dish, I'm a Malnati's guy.
Lou Malnati's, yeah. I used to go up there to eat all the time. See, we're a little different. I'm a North Sider. Phil's more South. So, see, but I'm a Cubbies. But he said he'd go Cubs.
I go Cubs too.
See, I used to walk up to the Wrigley Field. I used to walk 10 miles to go see the Cubs play or take the CTA.
Well, when I lived in Chicago, growing up, the White Sox stadium really sucked.
Yeah.
And when they transitioned to the new one, yeah, that was nice, but you didn't want to be around there. But if you go around there nice, it's real nice around there now.
Now, probably, yeah.
Yes.
It's been a long time. I remember when they tore it down. Mm-hmm. Because when they were building the old one, they tore it down. I was dating a gal that lived in that neighborhood because she was going to UIC. And that neighborhood was not good.
Well, you can walk from the stadium all the way to, do you know the Illinois Institute of Technology?
Yeah.
You can walk from there all the way to the IIT safely through beautiful homes.
Oh, things change, man. Things change. And a second food would be, I miss Chinese food. We had a Chinese place down off of Harlem, Madison. It was awesome.
Now,
it was really
everybody's going to think I'm being biased when I say this, but Chinese food in Chicago tastes completely different than everywhere else.
Yeah.
And I don't know why this is.
I don't either. I had Chinese food in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
It was nowhere near as good as Chicago.
Now, you would think, in case people don't know, Seattle is a huge hub.
For Asian community, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you would think that the best Chinese food that you ever ate would be there.
Yeah.
Or maybe anywhere on the West Coast you would think before Chicago.
Yeah, when I was in the Marine Corps, I was down in San Diego and all that. I never had any Chinese down there.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that there'd probably be a couple good places from what I heard. But I've never ate there before, so. But yeah, nothing beats Chicago food. Even like Italian sausages.
Yes.
Hot dogs. Hot dog buns with poppy seeds.
Yes.
I mean, how hard is it, people? Come on. Hot dog seeds with poppies.
Well, we used to be the meat capital of the world, right?
Yeah, it was.
And I think we hold that pride. We may not be the capital anymore, but we hold that pride. We have a lot of sausage makers, a lot of Frankfurt makers.
You remember Portillo's?
That's actually, when you were talking about the dip roast beef, that's actually my preference. I like to go to Portillo's, me and my wife.
We used to tile the restaurants.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my dad.
Well, they're the big kahuna now.
My dad buys it on the line.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't do the internet. He calls them up and he mails Portillo's to us.
Oh, okay. And when we get out of here, I got to show you all of the big city restaurants, the famous ones there's an online place that you can have all that stuff shipped to you, and then you can cook it at home, like the I don't want to say the nickname because it's not politically correct, but I can't think of what they call it. The place people used to go to get sausages and smothered pork chops on Halsted.
Oh, gosh.
They used to call it
I can't remember now.
Something Town. I don't want to say that.
Trying to think of the name of it now.
The Jade Town.
Yeah, I can't.
Okay, we'll let that go.
I was there probably, I haven't been to Chicago since 2012.
Oh, you got to go back then.
It's not safe anymore.
There's so many changes.
Yeah. They just finished the waterfront
Finally.
when we went there. And trying to think what else was still going. I don't even know if the Sears Tower, I think it was still the Sears Tower. Because it's Willis Tower now, isn't
Right.
it? It was still a Sears Tower back in the day. I can't believe they sold out.
Well, you know how you said they
Actually,
completed the complete Lakeshore?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that that's a plan that they've been attempting to complete since the original Daly, not the son, but the father.
No, Richard Sr.
Right.
Yeah, back in the day. Well, most people don't even know Chicago. Most of the Chicago waterfront is built on landfill.
Right.
It's like it's standing still.
Well, and even if you go back further, it's swamp.
Yeah.
And Chicago means stinking onion because that was the only thing that grew in these swamps.
Yeah, my grade school that I went to, my dad went to, my mom went to, my cousins, my uncles, we all went to that same school. My grandmother was the first graduating class of Devers School, and she remembers when it was built because she said it was built in a swamp. They used to take logs and stuff and fill it in. That school's still there, still standing to this day. Yeah.
Yeah, I think actually State Street is like the border of where the ground actually starts.
Probably.
Do you remember when it flooded? No, you were already gone. No, when we had that flood.
I was gone.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in Seattle. I was with Seattle PD at the time. But I remember because a friend of ours lived off of River Road, East River Road there. Her apartment, she had a ground apartment. The entire thing was flooded all the way up to the ceiling. Yeah, Franklin Park, River Grove, all that area in there, Rosemont, all that started getting flooded. And it was funny too because they had the Deepwater Tunnel project going. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't open it. They weren't opening those. They didn't want to open them. And they were afraid it was going to be damaged. They built this big tunnel underground. Right. If you guys don't know. It's like 15, 20 feet tall, these huge tunnels. To take water runoff. Right. To be in these big tunnels. During the big flood back then, they didn't open the tunnels. It wasn't complete, but parts of it was. Right. But they wouldn't open it because they were afraid of damage to the tunnel system. So everybody flooded.
That's a shame.
It was irony. But I don't even know if they're even finished now. That's like a 20, 30-year project.
I don't know. I don't keep up with those things anymore. But I miss Chicago. It was fun talking to somebody about my hometown.
And I miss the food.
So look, Chad, tell everybody how they can get in contact with you if they want a knife. After we're done, I'm gonna take some pictures and stuff for everybody to see, and I know somebody's gonna want to get a knife from you.
Yeah, right now it's always ck-tool.com. The best way to reach me is either through the website on the contact, and then Instagram. Those are the two best things. You could do ck-tool@gmail.com or sales@ck-tool.com. Different ways. But the books have been closed all year. I've got, when the shop opens up, the September 11th is the open house. I'm hoping to take just a couple weeks off because I've been at it 6-7 days a week since I moved in January, since we did this process. Filming video, building, editing, the whole 9 yards. But October 1st, I'm going to start production on knives again. But I'm going to fulfill the orders of people that have been waiting a year. Fulfilling those orders. Then I'm going to start making knives to put up on the website for sale for Christmas. These would be pre-made knives. But if and then after that, the website goes live the 1st of January for orders. But it's always 6 to 8 months for knives. Because I can put all my knives that I've made, 20 some different knives. Because if you go on the website, it's kind of challenging. It's because I have over 3,200 varieties with knives and styles and everything. It's a little daunting, but it's ck-tools.com or just type in ck-tool on your search engine. You'll get everything: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, the website, everything. You'll get it all.
And just let me talk to my audience for a second. People who have bought custom knives, 6 to 9 months, that's actually a pretty That's a good turnaround time. That's pretty quick, actually.
Yeah, it's
So
usually.
I just want to educate those who have never bought a custom knife. That's a very good turnaround time. There's some people that are at literally a year to 2 year wait times for their knives, and they're just being honest with you, their quality is nowhere near what yours is. We're going to have to talk about some of the little details about your knives. Like, do you mind?
Oh, go ahead. Whichever you.
Just like, for instance, this knife, I don't know what you call it, but it's just not a full tang, but you've even taken the time to take the full tang and have it taper.
Yeah, taper tangs.
Tell me what it's called and talk about that, please.
Yeah, dude, that's how I learned. When I was taught, my knife mentors, like, there was only one way to do a knife, taper tang. And so I do that, and you do it by hand. You just got to do it on a grinder. And that just gives you that sharpened look. First off, it's aesthetically pleasing.
Yes.
Because it takes a lot more time in the process. And also it helps with balance. Because if you look at a knife like this, like the Coyote Works knife, this is 10 1/4. This is 12. This is out of the same thickness steel and everything else, but this one is a full tang. And the weight of this knife is a lot more than this knife. And it's because of that full tang versus a taper tang.
And I love Coyote Works knife. This is a beautiful knife. How thick is this?
3/16 of an inch.
Wow.
That's how I
Nice
started
weight.
out. Yeah, you want it's the same as this one.
Another thing that I wanted to mention is you don't have it on every knife, but a lot of your knives have like little logos and decorations and the little pins. Sometimes you have decorative pinning. You're not just giving me a chunk of metal, sticking some micarta handles on it. And this is craftsmanship. This is artwork.
Yeah.
So I want to emphasize that to people.
Yeah, the pins are custom. I've done company. I've done knives for Icon Vehicle Dynamics, Kit Badger, Coyote Works, Warrior Boat Society. I've got like 40 some pins that I keep in stock. And initials, people's initials, different colors, branches of service, done different pins for Special Forces, Marine Corps, the Army. I got Air Force pin, stuff like that.
So here's my next question for you, because I'm a knife guy. And a lot of times when I buy a knife, I'm already planning and ordering or looking up where I'm going to get my sheath from, because usually they just kind of give you a throwaway knife cover, and that's what they're expecting for you to do, is to actually...
Yeah, some makers, they'll sell you extra. You'll buy a knife and they'll wrap it and put it in a box and mail it to you, and you got to get a sheath.
So do you have somebody that you recommend for your knives?
No, I make all of them in-house, and I've actually had people mail me knives.
So you just do Kydex?
Leather, too.
Oh, you do leather,
Yeah.
too? Okay.
Yeah, this is actually, Kydex is a thermoplastic.
Right.
Generic, it's like calling acetaminophen Tylenol. But then I use Holstex, which is like a leather type material.
Right.
So it's still a thermoplastic, but it gives you the leather look. And then I just do leather. And I do all the stitching by hand. I'll do all the tooling and everything by hand. And I'm self-taught. I never had anybody...
Now, I knew you did this. I just was kind of
Yeah.
setting you up to tell it. But I just want my people to understand, this is not just some little crap. This is... The cases for the sheaths for your knives are work in themselves. The thickness of these sheaths just themselves, the quality of the leather, there's a firmness to it. It feels like, a lot of people don't want to have a leather one in like a rainy area, but this will hold up. And of course it's not going to stay looking the same, but as it ages, the quality of these kind of sheaths, it's going to look better.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to the artistry of your handles. If you're carrying one of these knives, people are going to ask you about your knives just when they see the handle.
Yeah.
Just when they see the handle.
That's the goal.
Right.
Is the wood. Like this is This is Goncalo Alves. Figured Goncalo Alves from Mexico. That's Cocobolo.
Okay.
This is Madagascar ebony. that's stabilized, dyed stabilized, spalted maple, and then I just got regular micarta. But I've done everything, maples, wood, all different types of woods. And the wood is a fingerprint. And I can make 50 or 60 of these knives, even with cocobolo. But every piece of cocobolo is different.
Right.
I can't make the same cocobolo to trade.
I love that.
And that's what gives it its uniqueness. So when you buy a knife, not only are you buying a knife that, okay, I want a Cotterworks knife. Okay, everybody else has it. But I want it with Madagascar ebony. I want these pins. I want this brass. I want this nickel silver. Carbon fiber. Stuff like that. There's different ways you can make that knife yours. And then there's etching. I do etching on the blades and stuff like that too. Electrochemical etching, I can do that with names or something. So again, it's making your knife yours. And you're paying money. You're not buying a cheap knife. You're not buying a Gerber. It's not paying Taiwan. It's not a cheap steel. It's T2 or it's CPMS 35VN stainless steel. So you're buying me spending 40 or 50 hours making this knife on top of the materials. And so, yeah. And that's, you got to put in perspective. People are very quick going to a store and buying some now.
Chad, I want to thank you. It was an honor interviewing you. Anytime that I can have the opportunity to showcase a veteran who's giving back, who is as talented as you, who is doing something American-made, it's an honor for me to have you on the podcast. So I want to thank you for that.
I appreciate it. I got to meet somebody popular.
I know.
I've met someone popular now.
Okay.
I'll have them autograph the whiteboard.
So I'm going to talk to my audience for a second,
Alrighty.
and then we're going to get out of here, okay? So all I really wanted to say is, guys, if this is your first time here, then you don't really know who I am. But if he wouldn't be on here just because. If I'm interviewing you, that means I like you on some level. I've seen you on social media. I've checked out your product. I've heard good things about you, and I'll feel proud about showcasing what it is you do. And this is one of those people. He makes quality stuff. It's made here in America. He's helping veterans. He's expanding his business. He also has a YouTube channel where the what do you call this? The shop that he's working on. He gives you updates. He talks about you talk about all kind of stuff. So I advise you going to check out his YouTube channel, even if you're not going to buy a knife. Thanks again, Chad.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, everybody. That's another episode of the Random Waypoints podcast. And with that, I want everybody to stay safe, tread lightly, and hopefully I'll see you here or on the trail soon. Thanks again.
You have been listening to Waypoint Overland's Random Waypoints.
Voice.
Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for
Hearing a
more.
voice in my head.